let's say that somebody gave you an unusual response or their body language wasn't what didn't match up to the response or whatever. You would pull them out of the car. What would someone expect going forward from there once they're pulled out of the car?
I think the biggest danger aspect you have there is the radio communication, because when the officer pulls you out of the car, he's likely going to communicate to dispatch that you have a signal zero or that you have a gun.
Mhm.
And signal zero is the code for gun, almost universally throughout Florida. Depending on how he communicates that, you're likely amping up or elevating the response rate of any backup officers that are responding to the scene and do not have context for what took place between you and the officer previously. And they're just coming based upon no knowledge at all. And so they may be perceiving this as a high risk or dangerous situation because he called for backup, when really you've presented no threat whatsoever. And so the arrival of additional officers can tend to escalate things quickly. If you're in that situation and you hear the officer calling for backup and it sounds as though it might be like, hey, he's got a gun, or he's, if it sounds like something that's high risk, I would make sure to calm the officer down with that. Like, I don't know why you're calling backup. I haven't done anything crazy. He may get back on the radio and say, hey, it's just routine. But I think that's the biggest risk, is lack of communication of officers arriving on scene, knowing there's a gun in play and not having any additional context.
I was a military police officer for 3 years. Whenever we get a call from, somebody having a signal zero or a gun, everybody rush to that area for backup. And everybody's kind of like got the adrenaline pumping because they know their gun's out. So I've had the similar experiences. The other experience that I've had, I'm going to kind of give a prior case that I had a guy. He was working over at Health Central over in Ocoee as a radiology tech. And he got off work at like 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. He was driving home, stopped by Ocoee PD in a dimly lit area. He decided not to actually stop on the road. So he just slow crawled to somewhere where there was a parking lot lit. And cops questioned him about his weapon and all this stuff. He lied to them. He told them, no, I don't have a weapon. Ends up, they ordered him out of the car anyways. At that point, he refused to get out of the car. So you can see where this is escalating. Then they found the gun. So the gun was legal. He had concealed carry permit, everything. So they couldn't charge him with anything with the gun, but they ended up arresting him for the infamous
POP, pissed off the police.
Resisting without violence. And we ended up going to trial and winning because we had a foreman that was a military vet, and this guy was a military vet. Those are the situations that you're going to run into. I think if you deny it, that you have a weapon, and then the cop is already pissed off and is going to search your car anyways and finds it, you're going to lend credence to his I don't know, his ulterior motive of getting an arrest or whatever that may be.
You know what drives me crazy about the YouTube channel and with the comments we get is the people that base their entire knowledge off of their 3 times they've been pulled over and their limited window of experience.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm glad you got away with it the 3 times. There was no issues with your stop. But you got to look at this over the course of thousands and thousands and thousands of traffic stops to understand the statistical significance of either disclosing or not, and in that type of situation with your client, maybe he's standing a hard line on a principled argument. There's some people like that. I'm just going to stand on my principles. You're doing me wrong. But I don't think most people are like that. I don't want to be a pansy and not exercise my rights. But at the same time, I'm really not trying to give these officers a hard time. I think we need to move towards freedom in America. And so that balancing of understanding and exercising your rights a little bit and taking a step in that direction when you're under the pressures and nervousness of a traffic stop.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can, exercise your freedoms without being an ass to the cops. In general, most cops are good people that they just want to go home to their families at the end of their shift. Circling back to the reason why I would choose probably to disclose, because I know that majority of the time that's probably going to work out in my best interest in the long run.
Yeah. And I think I'm trying to push towards the more principled argument because I think we're getting soft as Americans. And so I'm trying to push that envelope. Not a lot, just a little bit. If we take one incremental step closer towards standing as authority, I think we'll do good. So